Alright, in today's video I want to cover something new that I added to my web store, online store, with all this blasting stuff, and it is this heat shrink hose clamp. So first off, I want to thank Jeff in the vapor blasting group on Facebook. I'll leave a link to that group below. Please join it. It's very helpful for people. I knew these existed for in larger sizes for radiator hoses on cars, and I never really got into these because once you heat it and shrink it on, you have to cut it off and they're not reusable. So I always use the worm clamps, in my Chevelle, for example. I'm always taking the freaking thing apart. Something's always breaking or whatever. I got to take it apart, right? Same thing with vapor blasting. With my gun setup here, I'm always constantly testing nozzles and air jets, and I'm messing around, so I'm always taking this apart. But now I'm at a point where I kind of just run the 7.5 horse size because I have a 7.5 horse compressor, so my stuff is all set up exactly how I want for that compressor. Anyway, I've been using these clamps, pretty cheap and expensive and whatnot, but they are bulky and your glove can get caught on it and whatnot. So when I saw these, I'm like, let me try these out. And how they work is you slide them on and you take a heat gun and they shrink and they compress, and then there's nothing to catch on. It's clean, and they work great, and they really clamp all the way around, and they do a fantastic job. And then if you ever have to change the hose or whatever, you're gonna have to take a razor and cut this off. Okay, first off, you got to get the cardboard out of here. And what you need to do, and I have this from an older clamp, what you need to do is kind of make, with your hands, a heart shaped and buckle it. See how it's creased or buckled right in the center? So you're going to want to try to buckle it. See how that's buckling right there? That's the goal here, because then the cardboard gets smaller in diameter and you can get it out. So heart-shaped, buckle it, and then it'll come out. And I'll tell you, with these small ones, it's really difficult. First, you can probably smash it down or roll it like you're rolling the juice out of a lime or something, just to get it a little more. But right there, see how I'm getting it to buckle? So right there, that's what you want. And then it'll come out. Right there, nice buckle. All right, so now we got them loose. You can slide them on. And the ones I'm gonna sell are, this is rated for 1/2-inch ID hose, and this is for 3/4 ID hose. They're rated for ID hose size, and then they have a grip range on the outer diameter of the hose. And as you can see, they work perfect with the Flexzilla hose I sell by the foot. By the way, this hose is super flexible. It's lightweight, and it stays that way even in cold weather. I live in Chicago, so when I use my machine in the winter, this works awesome. So I love these hoses. If you have Goodyear hoses or black or red or pink hoses, they're very bulky, heavy, and they don't bend easy. So I definitely recommend upgrading to these. Okay, so we got our hoses on, and just position them so they're gonna cover most of it. And then I'm using a heat gun. This is 1500 watt. This is a deal from Harbor Freight. So first I'm just gonna focus over here and get most of it shrunk, and then I'm gonna pick it up. I just don't want it to move around. Okay, and try not to touch it because it is hot, so just let it cool, obviously, before you go grabbing this. And I'm doing this on my workbench, but once it's in the vapor blaster, I just take my closed loop system, the rinse, and I just hit it with water to cool it really fast. And as you're heating it, you'll notice it'll get like glossy. That's kind of when you know it's done. See how it's nice and glossy there? All right, I'll give that a minute to cool and then we'll come back. Okay, for the most part, we're cooled off here, and what you want to do is when you're done, just take it and you can see, try and twist it. So this one can twist a little bit, but that's okay. And then obviously give it a tug and it's not moving. So that's it, it's done. And it's nice and nothing's gonna snag, and you have a little more room to work in here with your glove. And I really like holding the gun like this. So I'm constantly holding it like this. It's the most comfortable, and you can see how these clamps, these heat shrink clamps, work pretty awesome. Another thing I like to do is I'll take my zip tie and I'll zip tie it, I don't know, 8 inches away or so. And I get my hoses like this. And then what I do is I give the 1/2 inch one a little more length, if you will. See how if you poke that up, you can tie it. I'm exaggerating this a little bit, but if you clamp your hoses like this, you create this pocket here, and then you can easily get in here with your hand. It just gives you a nice entry to hold the gun. So, and as always, make sure you use your flush cutters so you get a nice clean, no tabs sticking out of here on the zip tie. So that's how I like to set up my gun right there. All right, to cut these off, I'm just going to use a razor blade, and I'm going to put a fresh one in. Nice fresh blade, and we're just going to cut. I'm going to try not to damage the hose, so I'm just going to go little by little. Okay, 3 passes, and it seemed to get it. There we go. If you're careful enough, you won't go through the original, through the hose, so that's how you cut them off. And that's it. So let's do this one too. All right, no damage to the hose, that's nice. All right, so you saw that I did it on my workbench, but here, what I did is I kind of extended this, hung it out by my machine, held this level so these wouldn't slide, and then I just had the heat gun to get them to shrink enough to where they wouldn't move, and then I did the rest, right? And then after this thing was all nice and hot, I put it in here, and I just sprayed it with water to cool it down. So that's how I did that, but I love these things, man, they're great. So they're available on my website. Check it out.